Somewhere between a dream and a memory lies a cluster of 7 stars, visible to the naked eye, encoded in your DNA, and whispered about in secret societies since before the pyramids rose. These are the Pleiadians, extraterrestrial beings said to have guided humanity's spiritual evolution for millennia. But what exactly are they guiding us toward? If you've ever looked to the stars and felt something staring back, this is for you. Want to decode this journey deeper? Start with Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak, link in description. This is lost galaxy lore. Let's begin. Before there were telescopes, before there were maps, before humans could even write their own names, they were looking up, and staring back at them in the constellation of Taurus was a tight little cluster of 7 stars that never blinked, the partial Pleiades. These stars weren't just points of light, they were portals, symbols, in some cultures, home. In ancient Greece, they were called the 7 sisters, daughters of the Titan Atlas, chased eternally by the hunter Orion across the night sky. Their name? Pleiades, from Pleios, meaning full or many. In ancient Egypt, the stars were linked to Ninth, the weaver goddess, an entity said to control fate and the timelines of life. Coincidence? The Maori of New Zealand call them Matariki, the sign of a new year, when souls of the dead rise to the heavens and new beginnings awaken on earth. Among the Navajo, the Pleiades were believed to be cosmic watchers, visiting Earth in times of great change. And on Japan, they're called Subaru, not a myth, just a word. It means united. Did you know the Subaru car logo is a direct visual of the Pleiades cluster? It's not just branding. It's ancestral memory on wheels. We find the Pleiades not just in stories, but in Maya architecture. The layout of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and the nearby temples align with Orion's belt. But the causeways hint at Pleiadian alignments too. The Maya aligned their ceremonial centers to these stars, believing they were the origin point of gods. The Dendera zodiac. In Egypt, it includes non-visible stars, known now to be part of the extended Pleiades cluster. How? Ask yourself, how did ancient Stone Age people across 4 continents all focus on the same 7 stars? They weren't connected by phone, but maybe they were connected by something else. One theory, these civilizations all remembered something, a visitation, a download, a time when beings from the Pleiades made contact, not to conquer, but to plant seeds. Spiritual seeds, technological seeds, genetic seeds. Many indigenous shamans speak of a sky people who brought light, sound, and fire to early humans, then left, promising to return. What if the Pleiades weren't just remembered? They were embedded in a ceremony, myth, and maybe even DNA. To explore this in more detail, Barbara Hand-Klaus, The Pleiadian Agenda, dives deep into the myths encoded in your own subconscious link in description. So when we look up and see those shimmering blue stars, maybe we're not looking at fire. Maybe we're looking at a mirror, reflecting not what's out there, but what's already within us. Because perhaps, just perhaps, the first message from the Pleiadians wasn't sent. It was remembered. If you met a Pleiadian, you might not remember it with your eyes. You'd remember it in your bones. People who claim to have encountered them describe a sensation more than a sight, a kind of dead telepathic stillness, so overwhelming it makes time feel like it folds in on itself. But who are they? The physical accounts are strangely consistent. Height between 6.5 and 8 feet tall. Body: slender, elongated limbs, delicate musculature. Skin: not skin in the traditional sense, more like luminous fabric, shades of silver, cerulean blue. even pearl white. Eyes. Massive, almond-shaped. Some say they're solid light. Others say they pulse like miniature galaxies. There is no known record of them speaking. Instead, they transmit. Words, outdated. Thoughts, limited. They operate through something called empathic telepathic resonance, a form of communication that feels like receiving your own future memories. Thought experiment. What would it feel like to understand everything someone's saying without them making a single sound? Imagine knowing someone's truth, not just what they say, but what they mean, as if your soul had already heard it centuries ago. That's how contactees describe it, not like being taught, like being reminded. To understand Pleiadians, you have to drop the idea of time as a straight line. They don't operate in its past, present, future. They operate in resonance. Pleiadians are believed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. When you see one, you're only glimpsing a slice of their total frequency signature. They are scientists of energy, artists of sound, engineers of frequency, guardians of consciousness. Some say their bodies are just the visible projections of much higher dimensional selves, like shadows of angels made flesh. Their brains, if you can even call them that, don't process information the way ours do. Instead of storing knowledge, they attune to it. They download universal truths in real time. Need to understand a planet's biology? Tune in. Need to heal cellular trauma? Recode vibrational fields. This is why they're said to be capable of time-folding travel, instant healing through sound harmonics, transdimensional architecture, crafts that appear, vanish, and shift phase in real time. You're already using this. Have you ever had a sudden insight, download, or intuitive flash that bypassed logic and hit you like a truth bomb? That's what Pleiadian contact feels like. Soul ping, not a thought. People who experience Pleiadian contact often describe overwhelming emotional responses. Sobbing, shaking, complete ego dissolution. Why? Because the Pleiadians are said to carry a Pshinton frequency of unconditional recognition. It's like being seen, not as who you think you are, but who you truly are underneath every fear and false story. It's not their technology that shakes you, it's the remembrance. If this section stirs something deep inside, it's worth reading Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak. A direct channeling of Pleiadian messages, link in description. Here's where the rabbit hole goes deeper. Some theorists propose that the Pleiadians encoded parts of their own emotional frequency into early human DNA, not to control us, but to awaken us when the time was right. That time might be now. We're seeing a mass reactivation of intuitive gifts, empathy, claircognizance, emotional intelligence that outpaces logic. And many of those awakening describe the same sensation, longing, not for a place, but for a state of being they once knew and are trying to remember. The Pleiadians don't see themselves as saviors. They see themselves as mirrors, meant to reflect humanity's highest potential back at itself. They aren't here to rescue. They're here to remind, to nudge you awake, to activate the codes already inside you. And if you've ever felt like you were here for a reason you couldn't explain, you're not alone. What if your weirdness is a signal? That persistent feeling of not belonging might be your most important clue. So, who are the Pleiadians? They are ancient, beautiful, terrifyingly advanced echoes of what we could become. They are reminders of our cosmic lineage, and maybe, just maybe, our next stage, long before the pyramids, before the moon held secrets, before Earth was even considered awake. There was a war, a cosmic war, not for land, not for gold, but for consciousness. The Orion Wars, a term whispered in channeled transmissions and ancient texts, describe a series of brutal conflicts that reshaped galactic civilizations across millions of years. And the Pleiadians, they didn't start the war, but they were changed by it forever. The Orion system became infamous for a ruling empire bent on one principle: domination through order. They believed in hierarchy, in genetic superiority, in using fear to regulate behavior. Allies included factions of the draconian reptilians, who specialized in psychological manipulation and frequency suppression, methods still echoed in human institutions today. Their enemies? Any race that promoted sovereignty, spiritual evolution, or freedom of mind. The Pleiadians were once part of this chaos, caught between survival and surrender. But instead of adapting to war, they left. The exodus wasn't small, it was galactic. Thousands of Pleiadian vessels abandoned the war-torn Orion sectors in search of peace. They arrived in the Asha system, a star group untouched by conflict, with planets teeming with untapped potential. There, the Pleiadians began again, not as warriors, but as terraformers, not conquerors, but creators. Imagine this: a civilization so evolved, they choose reforestation over retaliation. They built habitats that responded to intention. They seeded entire planets with eco-conscious AI, tuned to the rhythms of soil, wind, and spirit. And they made a vow: never again would they build empires, only ecosystems. But there was one world that didn't quite fit. A wild card, a young blue planet on the far edge of a spiraling galaxy, rich in minerals, charged with potential but crawling with duality. Fear and wonder, beauty and brutality, instinct and intuition. Earth. According to some sources, the Pleiadians saw Earth not as a utopia, but as a test site, a living experiment in vibrational evolution. Here, they could try something unprecedented: fuse genetic material from multiple star systems, activate dormant codes across lifetimes, plant seeds of higher awareness in the densest realm imaginable. And then, they waited. Pleiadian genetic scientists are believed to have embedded certain activation markers in early hominid DNA, strands that would lie dormant for millennia until the environment, energetically speaking, was ready. These weren't just biological changes, they were vibrational payloads, memories stored as cellular intuition, symbols encoded in mythology, sound frequencies that awaken inner blueprints. The result? A species capable of sudden leaps, artistically, spiritually, and even technologically, with no traceable origin. Sound familiar? The evolution leap. How did Homo sapiens suddenly outpace every other species? What triggered that explosion of creativity, language, and structure? Some say it was Pleiadian tuning. But Earth didn't evolve peacefully. It absorbed the trauma of Orion, the seduction of draconian control systems, and the confusion of a species that forgot where it came from. And yet, that forgetting was part of the plan. Pleiadians believe suffering creates depth, and Earth's pain. It could birth compassion, empathy, and interdimensional wisdom if guided correctly. That's why they return, not in ships, but in symbols, in art, in intuition, in music that seems to hit differently, and in people. Want to decode these cosmic chapters more deeply? The Pleiadian Agenda by Barbara Hand-Clow is your spiritual decoder ring link in description. So no, the Pleiadians are not gods. They are galactic gardeners. They took the ashes of war and built ecosystems of light. They fled darkness and chose illumination through creation. And Earth, it's not their failure. It's their greatest experiment. The only question left is, are we ready to wake up? On Earth, we divide things: technology versus nature, science versus spirit, progress versus peace. But in Pleiadian civilization, these are not opposites. They're the same song, in different octaves. Welcome to a world where technology is sacred and machines are built to heal the soul. Imagine entering a structure not made of concrete or glass, but of resonant crystal, grown rather than assembled. Its walls hum at your personal frequency. Its lighting adjusts to your mood. Its floor remembers your footsteps from a prior lifetime. Pleiadian cities aren't built, they're birthed. Using living materials, bioluminescent vines, sound-reactive stone, and liquid light alloys, each structure is a bunt sentient ecosystem. Nothing is wasted, nothing is artificial, everything is alive. Their interstellar crafts, often described as glowing spheres or fluid triangles, don't use fuel. They respond to consciousness. The pilot doesn't steer. They intend. The ship doesn't fly. It folds space around itself, creating a vibrational envelope tuned to the frequency of destination. Navigation happens through emotional precision. If your frequency isn't aligned, the ship simply won't move. Emotional tech check. What if your car refused to start unless you were calm, clear, and aligned? Now imagine an entire society built on that principle. Earth medicine cuts, burns, blocks. Pleiadian healing remembers. Their healing chambers are crystalline cocoons that tune the body's electromagnetic signature back to its original template, before trauma, disease, or distortion. Inside, sound frequencies target damaged DNA. Holographic light patterns recalibrate energy fields. Time itself becomes pliable, accelerating recovery to seconds. It's not medicine. It's memory restoration. Ancient echo. Why do sound baths and frequency healing suddenly feel familiar to so many? Because this knowledge isn't new. It's remembered from past contact. In the Asha system, no one digs for oil. No one splits atoms. Instead, Pleiadians use torsion field harmonics, a system that draws zero-point energy directly from the quantum vacuum. Translation. They extract limitless energy from the space between particles. Clean, infinite, responsive to thought. This energy powers not just homes and ships, but minds. It enhances clarity, reduces fear, elevates intuition. Because their grid doesn't just carry electricity, it carries consciousness. Want a breakdown of how these energetic systems link to your human body? We, the Arcturians, by Norma Milanovic, is a must-read companion. Link in description. Pleiadian instruments don't make music. They channel emotion into geometry. Some cities are designed using harmonic blueprints, songs translated into 3D structures. You don't walk through them. You're played by them, like a string across sacred architecture. They use color as language, movement as mathematics, music as medicine. Every act of creation is a spiritual exercise, every device a meditation, even their technology manuals. When channeled, read like poetry. Here's what really sets their systems apart. They don't build fail-safes, they build trust loops. Everything Pleiadians create is meant to amplify who you already are. Their devices reflect your emotional state, your spiritual alignment, even your intentions. They don't just make tools, they make mirrors. And if your reflection isn't aligned with your purpose, the tech goes quiet. Because to them, technology isn't a power to be wielded. It's a partner to be honored. Earth parallel? What if our most advanced AI systems weren't smarter, just more conscious? What if they didn't replace humanity, but restored it? Pleiadian technology isn't designed to separate spirit from science. It proves. They're the same thing. Their greatest machines don't make noise. They make stillness. They don't command respect through force. They invite it through frequency. And if we're paying attention, some of their blueprints may already be here, hidden in music, in dreams, and in the sparks of intuition we keep ignoring. What would happen if school wasn't about grades, but about awakening? What if your family wasn't who raised your body, but who remembered your soul? In the Pleiadian world, education is not a system, it's a ceremony. And childhood? It isn't preparation for life. It is life. There are no standardized tests, no desks, no authority figures barking facts. Instead, each child is gently observed, not judged, but sensed. Elders and guides read their frequency patterns, uncovering soul contracts encoded before birth. Then begins attunement training, a form of vibrational education that unfolds like art. If a child pulses with geometric frequencies, they're guided into sacred architecture. If they resonate with sonic harmonics, they join the song circles, Pleiadian ensembles who use music to shift weather, emotion, even memory. If their aura holds time-based distortions, they may be trained as healers, clairvoyants, or timeline engineers. What if school looked like this? Imagine if every Earth school day started with energy scans, soul recalibrations, and art as prayer. Would we still have dropouts? In Pleiadian culture, you don't get a teacher. You attract a resonance guide, an elder who mirrors your unawakened gifts. These mentors don't instruct, they remind. They walk beside you through a vibrational unfolding process called Cariel, meaning sacred echo. Through shared frequencies, you begin to remember why you incarnated in the first place. The mentor's job: hold space, redirect energy, and keep your frequency aligned with joy. Because to the Pleiadians, joy is intelligence. Bloodlines? Optional. Shared vibration? Essential. Families aren't formed biologically, they're formed vibrationally. When two or more beings reach harmonic resonance, they form a kinship cluster, a consciously chosen bond that allows them to co-create safely across dimensions. Children aren't born by accident, they arrive by agreement. Before incarnation, the soul chooses its entry point, family field, and life themes, sometimes negotiated across multiple worlds. Conscious conception. What if childbirth wasn't just biological but contractual? What if your child chose you because your frequency matched a sacred task? Pleiadian parents don't see children as blank slates. They see them as ancient masters, temporarily in a smaller form. Parenthood isn't about control, it's about amplification. Parents create an environment tuned for growth, crystalline sound chambers to help infants align with Earth's magnetics, floating gardens for young ones to harmonize with elemental spirits, emotional frequency libraries where children can try on feelings like clothes, learning emotional literacy without trauma, discipline handled vibrationally through realignment ceremonies, not punishment. The goal is not obedience, it's alignment with purpose. Curious how these concepts echo Earth's evolving parenting models. Bringers of the Dawn shares channeled Pleiadian wisdom on conscious familyhood, link in description. For Pleiadians, true learning isn't about collecting facts. It's about unlocking energetic templates, encoded at the soul level. Each child carries a vibrational mission, and the entire educational system is designed to do one thing: activate the blueprint. Once activated, the child no longer needs lessons. They begin to teach reality, how to respond to them. Buildings open at their touch. Songs shift the color of the sky. Their very presence begins to ripple through ecosystems. Because they are no longer students, they are aligned frequencies in motion. Soul School? What if Earth itself was just a dense version of this school? And what if graduation means remembering who you were before you were born? In the Pleiadian view, every being is both teacher and student. Every moment, a lesson. There are no failures, only bound frequencies misaligned with truth. And the purpose of every breath, every bond, every challenge, to bring your soul's song back into harmony. If you think Earth politics are complicated, try navigating a galaxy. The Pleiadians are not alone out there. They are part of a vast cosmic network, full of alliances, ancient grudges, and a frequency-based diplomacy that spans light years. In this theater of the stars, every vibration counts. Every choice echoes across dimensions, and not everyone wants peace. Let's start with the shadows. For millennia, the Orion Empire and the Draconian coalitions sought to dominate by enforcing order through fear and control. The Orions used genetic engineering to strip free will. The Draconians mastered frequency suppression tech, systems designed to keep civilizations locked in survival mode. Their goal: to centralize power, suppress evolution, and harvest energy from an emotional trauma. Yes, on a galactic level, emotions are currency, and fear is a goldmine. The Pleiadians opposed this, not with weapons, but with resonance fields that disrupt control signals. Earth mirror. Do our own systems of media, war, and division echo this same architecture? Are we in the middle of a vibrational proxy war and don't even realize it? But the Pleiadians aren't alone in this resistance. They are one of the founding races in the Galactic Federation of Worlds, an interstellar alliance committed to conscious evolution, non-violence, and multidimensional sovereignty. Members include Sirians, master navigators of energy architecture; Arcturians, known for healing intelligence and hyperdimensional travel; Andromedans, historians of galactic timelines and karmic regulation. Together, they form a council of frequency custodians, beings who work not through legislation but through harmonic alignment. When a planet calls for help, not through radio waves but through soul resonance, the Federation listens, and sometimes they send the Pleiadians. Here's the twist: the Pleiadians don't use weapons. Their defense systems operate through frequency inversion fields, essentially sonic or light-based grids that collapse hostile intentions into incoherence. They don't kill, they disrupt the enemy's ability to stay aligned with destruction. Ships approaching with violent purpose lose functionality. Pilots are overwhelmed by emotional feedback loops, forced to feel the weight of their aggression. It's warfare turned inside out. Emotional armor? Imagine a future where soldiers are disabled by being forced to feel what their enemies feel. That's the Pleiadian model. Empathy as defense. Earth is not yet a Federation member. Why? Because we're still fragmented, spiritually, politically, vibrationally. But the Federation is watching, and many believe Pleiadian envoys have been visiting for thousands of years, helping guide us toward vibrational readiness. Ancient texts depict sky beings offering knowledge of stars, medicine, and sacred geometry. Indigenous tribes across the globe tell of visitors who came from the Seven Sisters. Contactees today report dreams, downloads, and synchronicities too specific to ignore. These accounts are detailed in Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak, one of the clearest transmissions of Pleiadian diplomatic philosophy. Link in description. If Earth evolves into unity consciousness, we become a galactic anchor, a stabilizing point in the cosmic web. If we descend further into fear, division, and manipulation, we risk becoming a resource planet, harvested for trauma energy, locked out of higher alliances. That's why the Pleiadians keep whispering through the veil. They don't just want us to survive. They want us to graduate, to raise our frequency high enough that we become the ambassadors. And yes, there's a place waiting for us at the table. But the invitation isn't in words, it's in vibration. The galaxy is alive with conversations we cannot hear. Yet, alliances shift, dimensions unfold, and still Earth spins, hovering between its shadows and its destiny. The Pleiadians? They're not trying to rule us. They're hoping we'll rise high enough to remember who we are. Because in the end, it's not about contact. It's about resonance. They walk among us, not in cloaks, not in ships, but in skin, with jobs, families, doubts, dreams. They are the dreamers, the empaths, the ones who never quite fit in. They are the Starseeds, Souls believed to originate from other star systems, incarnated here to help Earth remember. And many of them are waking up. Now, forget Hollywood. Pleiadian contact doesn't usually look like flashing lights in the sky. It's subtle, personal, intimate. It comes in dreams that feel more real than waking life. Sudden downloads, ideas, knowledge, even languages you've never studied. Emotional spikes triggered by music, symbols, or even strangers. A magnetic pull toward the stars, or a sense of home that has no earthly location. Some describe it as a whisper, others a storm. But the message is the same. You are more than you think. If you're experiencing the following, you might be undergoing activation, heightened sensitivity to light, sound, or emotion, sudden interest in metaphysics, healing, or star systems, feeling a mission you can't name, but can feel, releasing toxic patterns or people with no warning, time slipping, days feel strange, memory warps, synchronicities flood in. Sound familiar? Maybe you're not losing it. Maybe you're tuning in. Star seeds are believed to carry dormant genetic markers, keys that unlock multidimensional awareness. These codes lie inactive for most of life, until something triggers them. Trauma, meditation, nature immersion, contact with another awakened soul, or sometimes just hearing the right message at the right time. Once activated, your frequency begins to shift. Old identities fall away, and a strange new calm arrives because you finally remember why you came. If this resonates, you're not alone, you're not crazy, and you're definitely not the first. Thousands of people have experienced similar awakenings, documented through decades of TT channeled transmissions. Want to decode the blueprint? Start with Bringers of the Dawn, the Pleiadian Agenda, we, the Arcturians, all linked below in the description. They're more than books. They're activation manuals. Channelers, dreamers, and intuitives all report a central theme. In recent Pleiadian messages, remember, you are not here to be saved. You are here to awaken. You didn't come to escape Earth. You came to transform it from the inside out. You are not powerless. You are not broken. You are not here by accident. You are here because Earth is in labor, birthing a new frequency, and you are the midwife. What now? Heal yourself. Find your tribe. Speak the truths others are afraid to say. Build the bridges between worlds. You're not here to convert anyone. You're here to become the message. Because the new Earth won't be built by force, but by out-frequency alignment. Earth is a frequency war. The battlefield is your vibration. Your energy is the weapon. Love is the technology. It doesn't take a spaceship. It doesn't take a channel. Sometimes all it takes is one sentence, one symbol, one whisper, and suddenly the Starseed remembers. They were never alone. They were never lost. They were always on assignment. Your next mission begins here. Celestial giants, the forgotten architects of cosmic destiny, astral legends. Click now. Don't wait for disclosure. Become it.